how is your day going? So I am doing something completely different today. It's going to be sort of split. I think it might be split into like 3, maybe 4 parts, depending on how we go and how time is. But I've been doing my room out. Maybe you guys will remember this. Things I've collected, things I need sorted out. And why am I showing you this? Because I'm going to be doing a mini series of me sorting out my things. I was crafting earlier on. Venus wheels is my thing on my crafting table. So this is one of my new units. I bought some baskets. There's stuff in there. If you're on the group, you'll understand what that stuff's all about. If I move this, I want to show you it all, because then you'll appreciate, or I will, how far I've come when it comes to clearing this all out. Oh, see, it all falls. Right, sorry if this is shaky, by the way. Right, okay, so as you can see, let me just move this. Hi guys, so this is a part 3 of my craft room. Like I say in the first part and second part, part 3 is me showing you my cupboard. So there are a few things I'm still trying to work out where they belong, or I completely forget they're in there even. So me and you are going to investigate together what I've actually sorted out and what I have left to sort out in my cupboard, and what I've actually got. Because when I did film this section of the cupboard, I did forget I have I've got crackle medium paste even. I forgot I had that in the cupboard, so that was quite nice to find. And there was a few other bits and pieces that I come across that you guys have never seen me do before. So I hope you really enjoy part 3. Part 4 is hopefully coming up tomorrow. I'm going to show you the top of the cupboard, and then we are working towards, let me show you all that. We're working towards that, and how it's got its own place at the moment. Hasn't got everything over there organized, but there are a few things that I know where everything is. So anyway, hope you really enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think by the comments below. Thank you to those who are leaving me such nice comments about my room. It does make it really nice to read, and thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that's given me the thumbs up as well, because that is really encouraging too. And I'll be watching out for your VRs and videos, and hopefully see your crafting space, whatever that would be. It doesn't have to be a room, it could be like a tray or whatever it is, and see where you all work. So I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now. Hi guys, so I'm by my cupboard. Even though it looks a bit of a mess, we are actually in my cupboard. Now it did originally have a door, but Chris took the door off because I was struggling to open it, and I wasn't coming in there for anything. So it is organised, as organised as it's going to get, really. So I'm going to talk you through what I've got. So I'll start this end. These 2 jars, the wheelie bin desk tidy, and this jar is all my miniature pieces of wood, and they are like the skirting boards, my caravans. See, just got decorative pieces. They're absolutely gorgeous. So that's what's in here, and some of the pieces I have actually started to paint. So that's what's in them too. So the cupboard behind that, obviously I've got my pasta machine to do my clay work. This is absolutely brilliant. I've got to get it back out actually, because you can make so much with the pasta machine. So I've got that. Behind that then is a basket. Now these baskets came from Wilkinson's, and these were in the organising section. So you might see a few dotted around the cupboard. This one has got like the Dulux paints in. Any of these paints I use for mixed media because they are perfect for that. I literally pick up the little tester pots. That one's quite nice. So that's what's in here. So I keep all the little tester pots and whatever else in there. In here we have, let me show you. In here we have miniature plates. So let me bring a few out to share with you what they look like. So we've got some that looks like, these are some I've painted up, or either painted up or bought. That one would be one I've done. Remember doing that one. There's another one. So these would be plates that you would necessarily put in a miniature house or in a little caravan. And some of the things I'm showing you, I expect some of you have never ever seen me do. Ever. So just little things. Some of these I have bought and they are fairly big, and some of them are like little embellishments. That is a little clock. I forget that are in here, to be honest, and then I'd go through and I think, oh, I'll use that. Some are like little postcards. Oh, these are quilted needles for like if I wanted to do like a sewing thing. That's what's in there. This one I actually bought. There's a lady on Facebook, and her name, I can't remember her name, but she painted this in 2015 because it says on the back. And she makes miniature paintings. They're kind of awesome to see. So I've got things like that one that I've done. Just really like random bits of pieces. That would be the fabric salt that's just tipped all over me. So I used something moving. And that's because I was trying to balance it on the end. Right. Not much come out. Most of it I sort of landed to catch mid-air. Oh gosh. Right. Okay, so you get the gist. It's all like paintings and all sorts in there. So that's where I keep my miniature paintings. And sometimes I will use this for mixed media, or if I'm making a miniature painting, whatever. They're all in there kept safe. So the next one we have, this is for miniature garden, and it's basically gravel. As you can see, nothing special in there. And there's miniature coal as well that you can use. So I've got some of that. So that is that cupboard. Right, the next one I have, this I keep completely separate. So these are drawers that have a handle. So they split into two compartments. One, sometimes I'll split like the painting in one and the molds in the another, or whatever. But this one has actually got molds in both of them. So it's got all my molds that I use, my frog molds. These are my clay plastic boards. Miniature, like that little bakery. Rose, see, so you get the gist. So I keep all my molds in one piece. I don't ever take them out unless I am working on them, and then I'll obviously take them out. But other than that, I keep them all in one spot. And then I tend to keep, this is a bead roller, I tend to keep the bead roller just resting on top of that. So in this one we have all my clay. Now it's important when you open clay, obviously it's got to keep in an airtight container. The clay I've got in there's all different types of colours, so I tend to keep, it doesn't matter if I open the clay, as long as I can close the lid, then I'm quite happy bunny. This one, talking about my clay, this is all my clay tools. Sometimes I'll put like tiny little moulds in there, like, let me see if I can go on that, like, no, that's clay, like these are tiny little leaves I can make. And sometimes I pick up cake molds because they're quite handy. I've got one that's got leaf vines on. All different types of tools. This is silver powder to shake on your clay to make it silver, and then you can bake it and it comes out. All my tiny molds that I don't want to go missing, and I know if I put them in this drawer they will do. So any of my tools I use, my rolling pin, anything like that, stays in this container, and it does close as well. And when I bought the clay, I bought the clay box. There was about 4 or 5 tools, the pasta machine, and the 2 clay blocks from the craft channel on Sky, and I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put the, what is it called, Chris? Create and Craft, that's where I bought it. So that box has come in so handy, and sometimes I do buy things off Create and Craft, not many, but sometimes I do. So the next box, we have all my jars that I've just found coming through the cupboard. And in this one we have my blink centers. There's not much in there actually. Little bits of resin pieces, and all my blink centers. I think, yeah, that was a clip. That one's a clip. But that's what else is in there. Just little clay embellishments. And like I say, I need to sort some of the stuff out, like this little guy. I've actually got a box for on my table, so I could take stuff out there. Right, the next one, see how I can just pull them out? This one has got my miniature plates in. So all my miniature trays, my miniature plates, I tend to buy them plain because then I can paint them up. You can paint them up in whatever colour you want them to be. So that's where all my miniature plates belong. In this one, and they are tiny, they're not even about an inch, I wouldn't say. This orange box, doing this all with my hands, you'll have to bear with me. This orange box next door to it. Now these are rolled canes is what they're called, and let me just get some of them out and see if you can spot what shape is on the end of them. See if you can spot what shape. So the middle one is a tomato. The next one can, I don't know whether you can just about, there you can just about see it. That one's an orange, the red one's a tomato, and that one is a butterfly, half butterfly. And they're called canes, and you can come in all different shapes. That one's a kiwi fruit, the other one's a little bit of an orange, but to show you what they are like cut up, that's what they turn to be. So you've got the oranges, the apples, the bears, the candy canes, and they're all made out of clay. You can buy them in rolls like this and then cut them up and use them, or you can actually make them yourself. I've tried to do it and it's really, really difficult. So I take my hat off to anybody that can make them. So over there we have all my spray paints. That rusted old thing is wax. In this compartment we've got all my clay stuff again. So my clay baking tray, there's my food colouring to dye my clay, and my if I'm making miniature liquids. There's all my molds to my miniature liquids, plus all the food dye to do like jellies or fromage or anything like that. I can now do it. I'll do it with all this in the tray. And I tend to rest that on top. So the next one, so the easy access that can be pulled out. This one is, these are just, so obviously my glue sticks if I'm using my glue gun. These are my scenic stuff. So I've got canopy glue for modelling glue. I have scenic white to make water for miniature making. More scenic white there. Don't know what this bottle is. Yeah, this is another one to make miniature making, and some PVA glue. Again, that's for miniature making. That's what they give you if you ever buy a house. That's the bottle it comes in, and it's all right glue, I suppose. I wouldn't say it's the best glue, but it's all right to build a house together. So that then goes back here. There's a bottle behind it, but I can't reach it. And we have my tools, all my clippers, my screwdrivers, anything like tools like that, because the girl needs her tools. I'm going to put these over here so they don't get tipped. Obviously, you've seen my wood. Oh, I'm in the way of the light. So in this one we have, this is to make my own buttons, which I did do a video on, and how to make your own buttons. So this is to make your own buttons. So the little tool in there, and you can buy the different sizes to make your own buttons as well. I'm sure I did a video on how to do it. I might have done a live. Either way, that's how to make your own buttons. And then in this one we have tools. That's all that's in there. So my screwdrivers, that is a thing for the spray cans, so you can can't lose control of how much spray you're using. This is all like miniature sticks for stairs and stuff. So that is what's in there. So I'm going to push that completely back. The stick goes there. That's not going to tip anymore. That's my fabric, what would you call it? Fabric salt gloves, and I have got in there as well fabric dye to dye the fabric. So I'm going to move that just there a second. And in here I have kept some nice pencils for myself. So my colouring pencils, it's all in there. Girl needs a little pencil case to keep her colouring pencils. That's what's basically in the bottom one. I have got a spare one now. Oh, and in here, sorry if the light is going. In here, a bit like what I showed you the other day. Why am I feet down? Okay. I couldn't do it with one hand. In here are little, look how tiny they are, little hinges. These are the big hinges that you would use for your house. Tiny little hinges. There's doorknobs, hinges, screws. This is a big fancy hinge, and this is how much I paid for it. £2.75, and you get two of those. Oh god, it's the wait a minute. There you go. £2.75, and you get two of the hinges, two knobs and one screw, but they are proper fancy hinges. And just little bits, screws, anything like that. So if you're into miniature making, I guarantee that anybody that's into miniature making has like a pot that they keep screws or whatever else in a pot. And for me, it's an old cherry tin pot. Right, up above. So this is a clamp. As some of you know, I used to make jewellery. So I have got a clamp that will stop the stuff from moving. Again, some of these things you guys haven't seen me do, so I'm gonna even have to do a video on showing you how I use my stuff. That would be a good idea to use. So anyway, that's the plan for jewelry making. In this basket, as you can see, there's 2 baskets in one, so let's pull it out. I'm hoping I'm not going to get those pencils everywhere. Right, okay, so we have, these are just watercolor pencils, normal watercolor pencils and pencils. I used to draw when I was about 14 and got gifted this from my art. The guy taught me how to draw and shade, and he gave me a ton of these. And to this day, I keep them all in here. They're like pastel sort of things. Intense blocks. I have watercolor pencils. These are watercolor paints. And then underneath we have, now I keep these separate for a reason. So this one is chalk, and then chalk pencils. I keep them separate because they can go absolutely everywhere if they're not in one place. And I did try putting them all together, but these slide out and they get everywhere. I would show you, but my fingers will get covered in black if I do. So here we have more pencils. I'm just short pencils. This is what it is. We have more pencils there. I'm just going to pop them on there, and then that basket goes there, and then that one on top. Wait a sec. Like I say, I'm doing all this one-handed, so you have to bear with me. Right, okay. I buy the full blocks of white acrylic paint because I make my own gesso. So I would put it all with I got more acrylics over that end, which I'll explain how I divide my paints up. So you've seen down there, I've buy tester paints and divide them up. I also divide my paints for miniature making, my watercolor paints and my acrylics, and I'll show you how I do that. But this bottle doesn't fit in that basket, but I'll bring it down because I'm going to get that tub out in a second. This little guy is all frames for miniature making. They're absolutely stunning frames. Some of them are actually plain, ready for me to use. Wait till you see this one, if I can get it out. This one has to be one of my favorite ones. This one I actually bought I can't pronounce her name. I can't remember her name, but she paints on miniature scales, and she also paints. I got another one. See, I've got wallpaper. Here they are. These are lavender blocks, and they are painted on like a foam kind of canvasy. So you would put all 4 in a room somewhere, and you'd have the blocks. There's another one that she's done that says kitchen with lavender on it. This is one I bought with the horses on. We've got mirrors, again horses on, and of course Cook's Collect loves her owls. She got an owl. So I keep all my miniature paintings, my miniature bags to make miniature Easter bags. They're all in here. Oh, there's more watercolor paintings that she's done, because she really inspires me to start to do drawings in my miniature house, and that's the only reason I bought them. But she's absolutely phenomenal what she does, and I know I can't remember her name offhand because it's ages since I've purchased something off her. And she painted them back in 2015. So that says something. Right, okay. Right, the next basket is this one. So you're gonna have to bear with me because it's quite a heavy basket to pull out. So bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. So this basket is quite full.
I originally had it on my desk. Now I have got a drawer for all my stamps, but these stamps, they are massive and they don't fit in the drawer that I have. So this is the only reason I keep these 2 mega stamps in. Other than that, are my punches. I bought Martha something punches. Martha Stewart punches, I do think. I bought these from the lovely Shilpa, and my other punches are in here, so I keep it separate with corner punch. There's another big humongous punch, so I keep them separate, and then I've got tiny little punches like these. This one's a kind of cool one. This one I actually used for my wedding, that we're talking 10 years ago now, so yeah. Corner punch. I'm trying to think the other ones you haven't seen. A little daisy punch, a stamp. This little stamp shouldn't be in here, but this stamp I got gifted by the lovely Sam, who's the Scottish crafter. She gifted me that. Another block stamp. I've got another like punch star, because you can make flowers out of stars. So you sort of get the idea, and this is what I keep in here, and it's quite heavy. And there's my space to keep them. Now, this has got, I'll show you what that's got in there. I tend to keep lavender in here, so it's more empty. Now I'm going to have to put the device down in order to... Okay, so I'm back. So in here we have, now these are super tiny. These are what I bought off Wish, and I have tested some of them out just on a piece of fabric, and that's some of the stamps that are in here, and they are super tiny to use, but yet so satisfying. And I've got to be really careful when I'm using them because they're so small. They were tiny when I received them. I've got to be careful when I wash them because they was like a whole tin full of fairy stamps, and they've gone missing over the time. So that's what's in there. Now over here, I sort of haven't keeping it completely tidy, because why haven't I been doing it? Because I haven't been able to get to this end. So we have acrylic paints, which I'll talk about in a second. This is my fabric paint, and so is this. Right, okay, so I'll show you the blue box for starters. Now in my blue box I have all my metal embellishments. So anything that's metal, like I'll stick some on here on the lid, I keep. Now some of these have been gifted me. So if you gifted me any metal embellishments, then you'll know how I keep them. And I keep them all together in a box. These are Tim Holtz light bulbs words. There's one that says believe, enjoy. I think I've got another one in there somewhere. Adventure. So this is how I keep all my metal embellishments. I tend not to use them in my projects often, but when I do use them, I do get this box out. So I wouldn't say they go completely not to use. That would be telling fibs. They do. Right, over here we have, these are acrylics. Like I said, I'll talk to you then in a second. This tray, okay, again, some of these things that you're about to see, you've never seen me use, and I keep thinking, oh, what shall I do, what shall I do, what shall I do, and then I forget what's in my cupboard. So I'll start with this section. These are glass paints. Now if you've seen my shop front, which I will post a picture here, you'll see that the door has a pattern on. That pattern I actually painted myself using glass paints. So I'm gonna I have got like a heart glass thingamajig that I'm gonna have to show you how it's done and how I do it, because it can be transferred into miniature making. So all this is glass paints. The thing next door to it are all tiny old Chinese watercolor paints. They're all watercolor paints. Some of them I've never used, some of them I have used, some of them I get out sometimes, but these are old Chinese watercolor paints, and the ones wrapped in foil. That's why they're wrapped in foil, because they're open. So that's how I separate my paints out on that side. Now that one is a bit different. So this one we have oil colors tube set. These are oil paintings, and then in here we have, these are fabric paints. So all these you see in here are all fabric paints, all like pink ones. Some of these I've picked up from the range for 50p, so can't go wrong with 50 pence. So that's what's in here. Behind it we have miniature wallpaper, which is sort of in the wrong box, but never mind. And then in here we have my tube watercolors. So there's a little bit of difference between those tiny ones and my tube ones. And I also keep my metallic paint in here because there isn't a space for it when you got a few bottles. So in here there's, these are all, no, these are my tube ones. So some of them are watercolor, some of them are acrylic, but they are my tube paints. They're kept completely separate to my fabrics. So that's what's in that one. Now the one next door to it, which is this one has all my acrylic tubes in it. So hence why I said they were in the wrong place, because they should be in here. So anything that's acrylic is in this box. So that's what's in here. And let me just put that one back. Can you see how easy they are to pull out? So in here we have my miniature paint. Now if I'm doing anything miniature, I tend to use enamel paints. Why do I use enamel? Because enamel paints will stay to anything that's miniature. It'll stay to metal, it'll stay to wood, it'll stay to anything that you want it to stay to. So I keep all my miniature paints, and you can get them in all different types of colours. Reds, pinks, whites. You can get them in all different kind of colours. So that's what's in there. This is crackle paste. Oh wow, I didn't even know I had. Oh, I'm gonna have a go at that later. See what I mean about being inspired? Right, so that is my cupboard. So you've seen my mess. Now I'm going to show you next what I have above my cupboard. So just give you a glance, I have all of that. Some of it I'm trying to de-stash, so some of you ladies will see all this on the group. But that is my cupboard. I hope you enjoyed part 3. Sorry, I do apologise for yesterday. I was supposed to post a video yesterday, but I generally couldn't. So my apologies. But I hope you really enjoyed today's video. And I will be back with another part 4 tomorrow to show you what I keep on top and what's in the different boxes on top, and hopefully we'll get around the room that way. So yeah,
so hope you all enjoyed part 3 of my craft room tour. There are going to be a lot of things that you probably by now figured out that I have shown you that I haven't actually shown you in a project, but I do hope that I get to do those projects really soon, because I kind of miss my miniatures and I haven't done the glass painting for ages, and it seems a shame for it to be in my cupboard and not being used. So I'm hoping to do them pretty soon. Anyway, like I what was I going to say? Like I was going to say, hope you really enjoyed the video. Please leave me a comment underneath. Thank you to those who have left a lovely comment. Amazing so far. Absolutely wonderful comments. So thank you so very much. My room didn't come overnight. It did take a lot of months to do. And in reality, it's taken probably about a year and a half, because I started this room, it's got to be last summer now. Started doing last spring, maybe last summer or spring. And originally this room was a bedroom. So I had a bed, chest of drawers, loads of boxes from floor to ceiling. And Chris had made me a table out of wood, but it looked nothing like it does now. So it has taken up probably a year and a half, a couple of months sorting through boxes and cupboards and that kind of thing, but probably a year and a half for the decorating, the wallpaper. The chest of drawers, if I swing you around, they can sort of see there, was originally brown, like a dark mahogany brown, and we used chalk paint and wax to get it kind of looking like that. And that was inspiration that came from one of the groups on Facebook. I think it was called DIY Do It Yourself or something it was. So we had fun doing that, and it did take a couple of days, but like I say, anything in here that has helped so far with my where I'm putting my crafts, where I'm putting my dyes, where I'm putting my molds, has really helped. So my tip so far with what you have seen is, if you've got a room that you know where everything was. I knew where everything was when my room originally looked the way you're seeing at the beginning of the video. But if you've got a room like that, look around for boxes or like little knickknacks that you can put things in, and see what you can pick up. Some of the boxes and tins that you'll probably see aren't your average craft storage tins or craft storage boxes. They are toy boxes. The storage cupboards that you saw in the cupboard, they are actually drawers that you would find in a kitchen. In an actual cupboard, they would put tins and stuff in. So I looked in different areas of the shop. I didn't just look in the craft section, because I found in the craft section it was either really expensive to buy a storage, some sort of storage unit, or they didn't have, it was small, nifty, but I couldn't quite imagine myself having it. And then if I couldn't quite imagine myself having it, I couldn't imagine how I was going to organize my stuff, if that makes any sort of sense. So I had a look around like the home section and the kitchen section and the toy section in shops. So my tip so far, look in those areas and see what you can find. Either that or like car boot sales or garage sales like you guys got abroad. So anything like that works. So I hope you enjoyed part 3 of my craft room tour. We're about midway now, about halfway through. So I'm really excited to show you the rest, and hopefully you'll see what else I can show you and see my other little bits and pieces I probably haven't got out for a century, but we're going to get out together. So anyway, I'll stop babbling and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.